edition of Tribulation Ready Survival. I'm Michael, and today, doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some information that I've been reading, and it's just been circling in my head, and I believe that the Lord wants me to send to you guys, put out there for you guys, and hopefully it encourages you to get doing some research, to get looking into what's going on, and to do some digging. So one of the things that one of the earliest survival situations, if you will, goes back to as far as Noah and the flood. Noah, in that time when he started to build the ark, there was a long period of time, I believe it was 200 years, where he had been warning the people there's a flood coming. Then he started building the ark. We know the whole story. I'm not going to go through that. But the fact is, what happened on earth to get to that point where humans were so corrupt, and not just in their thinking, but in their entire genetic being. Noah was perfect. He was, as far as his genetic makeup, was not manipulated. Okay? And that's why he was selected. That's why God had set him up in that position to move on to the Noah's Ark story, if you will. So let's go back and do some research about what happened to create such a corrupt being on earth. Because if you read the Bible, I'm going to read that part to you. It's in Genesis 6. I'm going to read it to you, and it just leaves more to be desired. It's like, what happened? Here's what it says. Genesis 6. And I'm going to start in I'll start in verse 1. Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men. Now the sons of God are angels. They're angels that have the ability. They were up in heaven. They have a lot of knowledge. They have the ability to shapeshift. And we'll get to the rest of that story here in a second. Shout out to Paul Harvey. But we'll get to the rest of the story of what happened, because there's more to it. But anyways, it goes on saying that they were beautiful, and the daughters of men were beautiful. So human females were beautiful. And they took wives for themselves, all of whom they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. And here it goes on to say in verse 4, there were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. There it is, the sons of God. Those are the angels. We call them, they're also known as watchers. They came into the sons of men. We'll go into that in a second. But basically, they all got together. There's about 200 of them. Said, hey, we want to do this. They came down. They shape-shifted basically into a human-type form. And they created children with human females. And then it goes on to say, those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. In other words, they were huge, strong, mighty men. They were men that had superhuman powers. They were extremely large. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man who I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing. And it goes on into the story of Noah. And that's the King James Version of Genesis chapter 6, roughly. So here comes the Paul Harvey version. Here's the rest of the story. Because this just doesn't cover, hey, what happened? Let's take a look at the rest of the story. I'm going to go into, it's funny, the book of Enoch, chapter 6. Isn't that kind of curious? Genesis 6, Enoch chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied in those days, were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children and of the children of men, and beget us children. And the leader of these angels, his name is listed here, Semyaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye not. I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of great sin. He didn't want to do this alone. He knew he was going to do something bad, and he wanted to get a whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of other angels, to do the same thing, and here it goes. Everything starts to go downhill. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they went ahead, and they were going to do this. And so they did it, and they came down from their realm of heaven onto the earth to a place called Mount Hermon. These are the names of the angels, roughly 200 of them, but these are the angels who were leading them. These are their names. Semyaza, Arakaiba, Ramiel, Kokabeel, Tamil, Ramiel, Diniel, Ezekiel, Barkiel, Asasel, Aramos, Baratel, Anel, Zachiel, Samsapiel, Satriel, Turiel, Jomiel, and Sariel. These are the chiefs. These are the leaders of 200 angels which descended onto Mount Hermon and corrupted humans even more. Now, check it out. We'll also find out later that not only, well, we'll find out later a little bit more how this works. And I'm encouraging you to read the book of Enoch here. Because you really want to find out what happened. We know that this happened. It's in the Bible. It's in the book of Enoch. But let's find out what those angels did. Because we know they procreated with human women. And they created these giants. But they also did other things. When they came down, they taught humans to do certain things. So it moves on into chapter 8. And I'm going to paraphrase here, but Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. So they taught things to the humans that they didn't know. This was information that was known to them because they were heavenly beings at the time, and they gave this information to humans that they weren't supposed to know. Humans weren't supposed to know these things, but now they do. So that's the thing that Azazel taught. There were other ones. Simyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Aramos, the resolving of enchantments, which is, I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure it has something to do with witchcraft. Baraqual taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds, which is weather and those types of things. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Shamiziel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at some of the things that are present today. For example, man, humans are able to talk to one person here and one person on the other side of the planet, whatever you want to call it, in another continent, in a matter of seconds. This technology, this was all disseminated down from the Watchers, and guns and explosives and the use of metals and all these things. Everything that is around us today, I'm surrounded by metal in here. That information was brought to us from the Watchers when they fell. This information didn't go away. And that, not just that, but including all that information, the corruption of humans with their blending of the angel blood and their DNA into humans, that's the corruption that was going on in those days. The giants at one point get we're going to call them Nephilim. The Nephilim get so ravenous, they're so large, they're so huge, there's so many of them, that they run out of food. They run out of materials to make stuff with. They end up eating humans and just devouring things. It's crazy. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in that situation. It would be insane. When the flood happens, he started all over again with Noah and his family. No one else. Now, it's debatable whether his relatives, whether his sons or his daughters, actually I think it was his daughters, had perfect DNA. I don't know that information. I don't think they did, because I suspect, call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I suspect that there are still some of those giants with their manipulated DNA, which is exactly what's going on today. They're still doing, these things never went away. They got better, and they started over, and now they're doing it again. We still have that technology. Just look around. So, what I'm getting at is this. You might say, Mike, what's your point? Here's my point. My point is, in the Bible, it says it will be as in the days of Noah when Yeshua returns. It will be as in the days of Noah. Listen, folks. Open your eyes if you haven't already. Open your Bible. Take a look. Start reading. Start reading not only Genesis, Exodus, all the way through the Torah, but read all the way through Revelation. And when you start getting into Daniel, Revelation, Ezekiel, there's a whole bunch of other books in there. You're going to start doing some research, doing your own research, and finding these things. And man, I hope it opens up your eyes, because we are in the tribulation. I believe that. with all the things that are going on and the things that people are doing. I'm not even going to blow somebody up here. I'm not going to, I'm not going to call somebody out at this point. I don't need to. The fact is, we need to know where we're at. We need to get our hearts ready. We need to keep our minds on the Lord, on Yeshua, on Yahweh, and on the book of the Bible, and do some diligent research. With that being said, I hope you've got something out of this video. I hope you start wondering what you weren't told and why you've been lied to, because the Bible will tell you. All those other books that were taken out, they're going to tell you. And of course, the Lord's going to guide you to where you need to go. So, with that being said, folks, I hope you have a great day. I'm going to get back to doing my yard work, and have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.